Working at Walmart plus the cold air. Barely feel my feet half the time.
That's just the life.
Hey, I'm Pierre, and I work at Walmart.
Not true, by the way.
Hey, I'm Pierre, and I'm a furry.
Not true, by the way.
Hey, I'm Pierre, and I hate women. I'm Pierre, and I hate women.
Not true, by the way.
Well, now you have to
They're
introduce
my
yourself and say
top
something.
3 favorite demographics.
You have to introduce yourself and say something true.
I'm Pierre, and I'm on a podcast where I'm going to talk about the hit shonen manga Black.
Yeah, London. This is a new one, isn't it?
What?
This what we're doing?
Yeah, this is the first one.
Yeah.
The debut.
The debut of a new show on the
Well,
screen.
I secretly have already recorded the first episode. With longtime correspondent
That person from
Barack
Germany.
Obama, where we read his memoirs.
Here he's a big fan of the show.
To drone or not to
He
drone.
released a new book
No.
recently.
A lot of people don't know this, but a big factor in my decision to drone those countries was Bleach.
I saw myself as a soul reader.
He was sending them to the Soul Society.
I had to keep my honor of duty. But anyway.
Dude.
Duty.
Got him.
We're actually back in 5th grade right now.
His Zanpakuto looks like a predator drone.
His Zanpakuto. Like that one guy in Bleach that his sword just scatters into a bunch of like flying shurikens. His sword scatters into a bunch of drones.
There we
A
go.
bunch of drones come up from the ground.
Yeah, so you're currently watching or listening or nothing to Read Weens, where we talk about books and manga and newspaper articles.
We were gonna read newspaper articles.
We're gonna read
We're gonna
newspaper.
read all
We're gonna
Garfield's.
read whatever.
Are we gonna become journalists?
We're gonna read all of r/no sleep.
Oh.
All of it.
Oh. What's your favorite subreddit?
It's the subreddit I probably revisit the most, in the sense that like I hate it, but I want to like it because I like reading horror stories, but it's just like they're so bad. And I like realized that I turned the heat on when me and Thomas were in here, but now that there's 4 bodies in here, I'm like, it is heating up fast. It is getting spicy in here.
Not spicy
Maybe
enough.
we'll all kiss.
It's like in Bleach.
So yeah, today this is a monthly podcast. We're gonna hit it the last Thursday of every month, which ta-da, it's Thanksgiving Day. Next time it'll be New Year's Eve.
That's how time works.
That's how time works. So we're gonna be talking about the first 182 chapters of Bleach today. And at the end of the episode, I have books that I have bought for everyone to read that we will be reading. Not manga. What the fuck?
No weebs allowed. Sorry,
No
Thomas,
weebs
you're
allowed.
dead.
Well, guess what? Every 4th month, you're gonna have to read more manga.
Oh boy.
Every 4th month.
Every 4th month. We'll have
That
to
depends
suffer.
if, Pierre might just drop out after this episode. He's like, I don't want to read things that aren't manga.
Like, why would I read something that doesn't look like an anime?
Fair.
Well, think about it. If you're reading just words, you can visualize an anime in your head.
That's what I did when I was reading Aragon.
Aragon
same
is the
thing.
original light novel.
Just showed an anime.
I hate when you talk sometimes. I hate it.
Aragon goes through a hero's journey just like Ichigo. They also look similar.
We're also going to be launching a 3rd podcast soon. It'll be starring Pierre and Joe, where they talk about working at Walmart, even though only one of them works at Walmart.
That's not true. We're not releasing it. You guys aren't releasing a 3rd podcast.
Well, it's
Record
like
a podcast at Walmart.
It's like a
Oh my
candid
God.
situation where I secretly have just my phone recording a lot of the time when I'm talking to you guys, and I'm just going to release podcast episodes that are just secret recordings of Pierre.
I don't like that.
I tape a camcorder to my glasses. So I was working at Walmart and I just don't notice it there.
Well, regardless, it's been a minute since I've been on the podcast.
Yeah. Since, when was the last time you were on?
We watched the Grumpo movie.
The what?
The Grumpo movie? I don't fucking know.
Grumpo movie.
Yeah,
That's
you know?
ringing no bells.
I don't fucking remember. It's been...
movie.
You guys watched The Land Before Time 12?
No, okay, I'm like actually trying to think.
Thomas, I'm gonna make us watch all of the Land Before Time movies.
There's
I
like
think there's
17
16 or
or something.
17, yeah.
I'm like actually trying to think of what I was on with
Because
when
I
we watched.
remember the episodes you've been on were like the Big Lebowski, Eraserhead.
Yeah,
You were on the Before trilogy.
yeah. The one with Man Escaped.
Oh yeah.
That might have been the last one.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. It was we watched some stuff afterwards.
What?
You watched
It was the Psycho. It was Psycho.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That was-
Gus Van Sant Psycho. We were just talking about that on the podcast.
How long ago was that?
a month ago, month and a half, maybe.
Probably like 2
Oh,
months
it was 3, I think.
Oh,
This is
Time
episode
flies.
58. We just recorded 70.
Pierre's
Yeah,
just been
Pierre.
My
wiggling his
hands look
fingers.
really big for some reason in that video. They look bigger than they should.
Ah, that's how, like, perspective works.
I don't know. My hands don't look.
Oh, Joe's hands look a mess.
my hands are massive.
It's because I think this camera has, like, a slight fisheye quality to it.
Probably.
So the middle...
Outer edge.
Yeah.
So it's making me look smaller than I am.
London, you are like 4'10".
Yep, that's why when I'm sitting...
Watching this are just like, look my hands in the camera.
This is iconic content.
Ooh, my hands are ginormous.
people tune in. Wow, there's people who are
We're
talking about
40
Bleach.
minutes into the Bleach
Imagine someone
podcast,
just
just talking about your
listening to
lens
this.
and my hands.
What?
Audio-friendly podcast, by the way.
Audio listeners are just like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Audio-friendly podcast.
What are they doing with their hands?
Playing with perspective because we were all actually 13.
My hands looked absolutely massive for a second.
All right, well, we want to just hop right into it?
You make like a list of topics.
No,
When
we're flying by the seat of our pants for the first episode.
when are we like ever structured?
I feel like the podcast has gotten to a natural point where it's pretty structured.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried to structure it. We need to bring back movie ideas. Oh, here we go. We'll do book ideas. Aragon 5.
That's the only book I can ever think about.
Joe's idea, Aragon 6. Thomas's
Actually-
idea, Mein Kampf 2.
Actually, my book idea would be a 4th installment to the Divergent trilogy.
Oh!
Regurgent.
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 I just really want them to make like a... I know this isn't a book, but they need to make a movie sequel from the perspective of Edward following those books that Stephanie Meyer wrote for Twilight, like Midnight Sun or whatever the fuck.
Midnight Sun's out.
Yeah, they need
For
to
Twilight.
make movies of those.
Oh.
And bring back Robert Pattinson.
Did you know, so... Well, yeah, let's talk about some book news real quick. She's not doing a sequel of that, which is ridiculous because New Moon, he's gone the entire time, so it's like, why wouldn't you? Instead, they're doing a spin-off about Jacob and Renesmee. Which is already
I'd
like-
rather read that.
wouldn't, it's scary.
It's the baby, right?
It's a baby.
Oh no.
The baby that ages really fast.
Why is-
Jacob's like...
Why is Stephanie Meyer still writing?
Because she's
Why
like,
do
J.K. Rowling is universally hated. This is my time to
I would
step
say
in."
that Stephanie Meyer's a
Actually,
nicer person.
From what I saw from that
Probably.
last movie, like the baby's aging rapidly, both physically and mentally. So like they'll get to the point where they're like mentally on par with him by
Yeah,
the age
but
of like
he
2.
couldn't... it's just sad.
It's kind of the opposite. The Soul Reapers in Bleach, who seem to live for hundreds of years, but act like they're just like 20 or 30.
Think about this conversation. Jacob's gonna sit down with his lovely wife, and he's gonna be playing a game with her, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, let's play like Tony Hawk Pro Skate 2," and she's gonna be like, "I wasn't alive when that came out."
Oh, I thought you were going to say they're going to be playing it. Then after like 2 hours of gaming, she's like matured to a point where she's like 40 years old and is like running a tech company. And he's just like, we were just playing Underground 2. He doesn't get it.
Watch out for our next podcast where Joe and Pierre play Tony Hawk Underground 2 every episode.
Yep. That's exactly what we're gonna do.
While commentating on
Are we playing through the whole game
culture.
every episode?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
You can't leave this room
Until the credits roll.
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk about Bleach.
All right, let's talk about Bleach, which was this was my first time reading Bleach. At least this section of Bleach.
Poser.
I grew up. This was the first anime I watched. Not really. I watched 4Kids anime, but outside of 4Kids anime, this was pretty much the first anime I really got into.
4Kids anime is anime. You don't even make it.
I agree. 4Kids anime has a pirate rap.
That is true.
But yeah, been reading, went through the manga. This was honestly one of the first times I've read a lot of manga in general of something that I've seen an anime for.
What a weakling.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not a fucking weeb.
What a weakling. Yeah, no, it's weird, because I was a Naruto kid growing up. I never got into
fucking
Bleach.
hated Naruto as a kid, and I still fucking do.
I look at Naruto now with, like, indifference. I'm like, whatever, I
What are
don't
you guys
care.
talking about?
Naruto.
Naruto.
The Uzumaki.
Boruto's dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, Boruto's dad.
wait. How interesting could a show about that guy be? He just sits in his office all day signing paperwork and doing interviews.
Oh.
Fun fact, bit of news before we hop fully into Bleach. Kishimoto's stealing Boruto.
Me and Pierre have been talking about that.
Pierre
on and
told
on.
me.
I've been following the Boruto manga and being like, this is actually pretty good. And I'm like, kind of excited that's like, oh, it's gonna get pretty rough, isn't it? When they switch writers back to
Probably.
Yeah, no,
Kishimoto.
I was never into Bleach. I had a bunch of friends growing up. They're like, Bleach is great. And then living with London was like, Bleach is great. I'm like, and here I am, having read up to the Soul Society
Like
arc.
a third of Bleach.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of basically same for me. I had seen the first season and the first half of the Soul Society arc up until like the bridge confrontation.
Okay, yeah.
And then I stopped and I was like, I kind of want to finish this arc, so then I picked it for this.
Okay.
And I like manga better than anime
And
usually.
I've seen the Soul Society arc, the Wizard arc, the Bount arc,
Wizard.
and I think I was like halfway through the Arankar arc. Or maybe I'm just making words up and these aren't actual real things.
I hadn't heard the first three, but I've heard of the...
The Bount arc is the anime original arc.
That doesn't count.
It does.
That's what
It's good. I am the only person in the world that will say it, but the Bount arc is good.
That's where they finally explain why it's called Bleach.
It's called Bleach because they're soul reapers and they cleanse the soul.
With Bleach?
They should just call it Soul.
There is no mention of cleaning products.
They're the cleaning products of the universe.
They're like a fucking dead society based off feudal Japan. Do they even know what Bleach is? How do they like make a connection?
Oh yeah, okay, so that...
So just
I've been
a
reading-
forewarning, Pierre's gonna say a lot of stupid questions.
I like
So as I've been
Yeah.
reading, I just like start building up dumb questions in the back of my mind. One of them is, why does the Soul Society look like feudal Japan from like the year 1200 or something AD?
because most of
Why
human
did they
history-
stop there?
Because my guess, this is purely a guess. I'm not trying to be a Bleach apologist or anything, but
Fucking apologists, dude. You can't escape them anymore.
yeah. But my guess is because most of human history has been not like specifically feudal Japan, but something close to it. So they're probably just trying to reach like max.
I don't feel like that's true
Comfortability
because
for
like
the
humans
masses.
have been around for like at least 20,000 plus years.
Well,
and when
only
you
5.
when you think about feudal
5 years.
Japan in that like sense, that was only a thing for like a couple centuries.
Couple
hundred centuries. Oh.
So if anything, they should look like a bunch of cavemen, and that's why I think as if Zanpakuto toes, they should have big clubs.
No, but
Like
cavemen
on
don't have
spears.
souls.
That's
You
true.
don't know that.
I
First
do know
human
that. Did you
soul
see any cavemen in Bleach?
The first human soul was invented.
I guess you're right.
Ancient
There we
Egypt.
go. Case closed.
Like dogmen have souls.
Dogmen have dogmen.
I guess quick synopsis for Bleach London.
Alright, so there's this kid, Ichigo Kurosaki. He's 15 years old, he's in high school. He runs around, he fights people who don't like ghosts. But wait, there's this girl named Rukia Kuchiki. She's a Soul Reaper. She shows up to fight this thing called a Hollow, which is like a big demon thing. And, Ichigo secretly has these latent powers inside him known as spiritual pressure, which lures out this really big Hollow that starts eating his family. Rukia gets wrecked by this Hollow. Ichigo then goes, I need to save them! Rukia's like, I'll lend you my powers. And she tries to give him some of her powers, but he accidentally takes like all of it. He becomes a substitute Soul Reaper, hits him in the fucking head, he's dead. They start training. Rukia has to be in a Gigai, which is like it's like a human body for a Soul Reaper. It's like a mannequin body. Then they start training to be stronger, but watch out, eventually Ichigo gets too powerful. He meets some friends along the way, or friends that he already had. There's a guy named Chad. He's the coolest character in anything ever made. He has a big arm. Orihime has these weird little fairy things. She goes like, "Ooh, Tsubaki, I reject!" She starts kicking people. And then there's this guy named Uryu that kind of looks like Pierre. And Uryu starts using this bow and arrow. He's a thing called a Quincy. Quincy's were this brand of humans that could fight the Hollows, but what they did when they killed a Hollow, it just destroyed the soul forever. While when a Soul Reaper kills a Hollow, it cleanses the soul, sends them to the Soul Society.
So the answer to this, genocide.
So the answer to this, genocide. Quincy's were wiped out, but that's not important right now, not important for the Soul Society arc, until we meet the Clown Devil Man later. But
Doug Walker. We'll get to him.
Doug Walker. Alright, then eventually we see this guy named the Grand Fisher. He was this Hollow that killed Ichigo's mom. Oh no! Ichigo goes, oh! And he fights him. He forces the Grand Fisher to run away. Ichigo keeps getting stronger and stronger. Eventually a Menos Grande shows up, which is like hundreds and hundreds of Hollows sold together. Fused together into like a really big clown man. Lots of clown things. Kind of look like clowns. Alright.
Okay.
After he fights the Menos Grande, the Soul Society is like, what the fuck's going on there? This guy named Renji Abarai and Byakuya Yakuchi come down to get Rukia. They wreck Ichigo. Ichigo almost dies, so does Uryu, but they're fine. Then they're like, we gotta go rescue Rukia from the Soul Society. So they start training with this guy named Hatton Claws, also known as Kisuke Urahara, who owns this shop that sells like candy and guns and terrorist weapons.
Not lying, by the way.
Does he?
So they train in this underground cave that he has that's like massive. And Ichigo has to regain his Soul Reaper powers that were taken away in his fight with Byakuya Kuchiki. He eventually does, but also during that time, he almost turns into a Hollow. So there's this Hollow mask that's haunting him throughout the Soul Society arc. But they train successfully, and then the four, Ichigo, Uryu, Chad, Orihime, fifth, Yoruichi, which is a cat, go into the Soul Society through this portal, but the portal is like a trash chute, and the trash man is going through it. So they have to run away from the trash man. Eventually they get out, they crash into the Soul Society. They crash specifically in the Rukon district, which is like the poor people district, which is the biggest district in the Soul Society. They meet this guy named Jidanbo. He's kind of a dick, but Ichigo fights him, and then they're like, oh, you spared my life, you're a kind man. Jidanbo opens the door. Gin, this cat.
Just say that they just fight a bunch of people.
You're like going through
they
it all.
Fight a bunch of people once they get to the Soul Society. They solve the problem. And Chad gets a brand new shirt.
Ichigo works himself up the ranking system. He fights a footman, he fights a captain, then he fights a fucking...
He fights
captain, then captain.
Everyone.
He fights the captain Gin by dodging, pretty much just blocking it. Yeah. Then he fights a pig man named Ganju. Then they go to Ganju's house, shoot themselves out of a cannonball. Then they land in the Seirete, which is the inner sanctum of the Soul Society, where all the Soul Reapers live. They have to go find Rukia. Eventually they find Rukia. Ichigo's getting wrecked. So then Yoruichi, who's not actually a cat but a woman,
Woman
trains
Can be both.
Ichigo to get his Bankai, which is like the ultimate weapon a Soul Reaper can get. And it usually takes like hundreds of years to get, but he gets it in 3 days. And then Ichigo goes to the Soul... He fights people, he rescues Rukia. But while this has been happening, this guy named Aizen had died. But really, he wasn't dead. And he was the mastermind behind the whole thing.
I assume the people listening or watching this are people who have already read Bleach.
Yeah, but they probably were entertained by that.
Anyone who hasn't is probably just like, what the fuck?
There's so much going on. Yeah.
Well, we did cover 182 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the basis of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, split into 2 core halves.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally forgot about the most important part. There's this guy named Don Kanonji.
God damn it. No.
He's the...
No.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
the
it's split into 2
reality
halves.
TV
There's
show.
the substitute arc, which is, Ichigo on Earth learning how to be a substitute Soul Reaper, and then there's the Soul Society arc, which is where they go to try to get Rukia back and
First
stop
quote
her
unquote
execution.
major arc.
Yeah, I consider this all one big saga.
Yeah. No,
so-
I tend to agree with how I view it as that as well.
The
Yeah.
substitute stuff's just a prologue to the main story, it
Mhm.
seems.
So I'm just gonna come out and say it. I thought this was very mid. I liked it. It was not the greatest thing in the world. It was not the worst thing in the world. I can say I definitely enjoyed my time with it, but I think I have largely missed the boat on Bleach.
Here's what I will say on it. And this is from someone who shit talks Bleach all the time without it having actually gone through it.
Oh, you're one of those people.
I am. I assume it's probably going to get bad from this point on. And I can see the seeds planted for how I don't think the series would continue the momentum it has currently.
Yeah.
In terms of just power scaling, I feel like they came close to pretty much exhausting as much as they probably could have. There's like one more thing that I think they could have done that they do touch on, which is his hollow side.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was poorly paid off in this arc.
Yeah.
that's for the next arc.
Yeah, I'm sure. But the thing is, they built it up so much during this arc. I really wanted to see it fleshed out.
like
Honestly,
they built it up at all.
they do.
They do.
There's multiple times where he tries to chuck the mask away, and they're like, "This mask has returned on your person." They're building it up. That's built up. Anyway, So I think that if the series maybe had like, instead of leading into another arc with Aizen and shit, I think if they had tried to wrap it all up here, I would have liked it a lot more.
Like I'm fine with kind of either or. I just feel like there's some interesting stuff below the surface, but there's not like it's hard for me to verbalize. I feel like I've experienced better shonen. If
That's the thing, though, is I haven't. Like, I can't think of good shonen outside
Name
of Bleach.
3 shonen that you have watched within the last 10 years.
How much do I have to...
Yu-Gi-Oh!
How
counts as
much?
shonen,
How
by the
much
way.
do I have to have watched?
Oh, that answers my question.
Well, like,
there.
I've seen like a season or two. Do I have to have watched the whole thing? Because I haven't
No, I
watched
wouldn't
all.
say that.
I feel like if you want like an actual, like, true, full, like...
Because I haven't seen all of Bleach.
I would say if you've completed an entire story arc,
Because I've watched...
multi-episode story arc.
I've watched 2.5 seasons of My Hero Academia.
yeah.
I've watched
That's enough.
Yu-Gi-Oh! I've watched Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I've watched Gurren Lagann. That's not... How is that not a show?
That's Mac.
Like that.
It's got shonen qualities.
Well, like
to it
that's
for
its
sure.
demographic, but I don't feel like
It's
follow-
shonen.
It is shonen.
It is.
Are we
It's a
referring to
shonen in
shonen as like the publication
You know
company
what?
or the genre?
You know,
Kind of the genre.
never mind. I thought about Gurren Lagann's definitely a shonen anime.
Like Gurren Lagann is like one of the most prototypical.
Mobile
Shonen.
Suit Gundam.
That's I won't.
Yeah, but like
that's
it's
a shonen.
How is that not a shonen?
It's got shonen qualities to it for sure, but shonen when Gundam came out was a lot different than shonen is today.
I would say shonen.
Is Lupin a shonen?
Wow. I'd say it's shonen-y for sure.
What's your definition
I have
of
watched
shonen?
the first 7 episodes of Dr. Stone.
Shonen to me is something that definitely requires definition, because I mean it can be as broad from intended for young boys like the audience, because that's what like shonen actually fucking means.
Yeah.
But when I tend to talk about shonen, I tend to talk about like modern shonen, so stuff like Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball, like the Dragon Ball era of shonen.
I have watched every Dragon Ball Z.
A post-Dragon Ball example of shonen, then, is what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dragon Ball and post.
Which is very much what Bleach is. It's a
And, like,
post-Dragon
no,
Ball
and-
shonen.
No, absolutely. I think that's a decent way to, like, encapsulate, like, typical shonen. And now, like, within the last 10 years, shonen has been, like...
Yeah, shonen's been branching.
Like Assassination Class.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even...
I've seen that.
Well,
I have seen plenty of shonen.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
Bleach is the best out of all of them.
And, like, and it's so weird to me because, like, I don't know, like, when I think of, like, top shonen for me, like, my mind instantly
I have
goes
seen
to...
Sword Art.
It's completely derailed.
I wouldn't say
Like,
it's a shonen
Like, I immediately think of
Isn't that
JoJo's
theater more on
and...
Isekai?
until the beginning of part 3. What?
Isekai's a show.
Isekai is its own like subgenre.
Of shonen. No.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
that's fine.
Like,
Shonen
I
isekai,
instantly think of, like, Hunter x Hunter and JoJo's as, like, the best shonen
From the first 4 episodes of JoJo's.
We need to get you into JoJo's, man.
Is Johnny Young Bosch in it?
Part 1, actually, yeah. He voices Jonathan Joestar.
Okay.
You guys are saying don't watch the.
I'm
think
saying
the
watching
dub
the
for part
dub
one's
on part
pretty
1 is
decent.
great.
I haven't
But-
seen the dub for any of it. So.
But dub for part 2, really bad. Dub for part 4, not a fan, because it's got Vic Mignogna as Rohan, which is a fucking crime
Ugh.
against humanity.
I've seen Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
And Brotherhood.
Some would say
See, I have...
the greatest.
I've
shonen.
seen lots of anime.
Okay. I just remember you going like, hey, my experience with anime is clicking the random anime button on anime. Site.
No, that was my first experience
Oh,
with anime.
okay, my bad.
I've seen Ghost Hunt.
I haven't,
hasn't.
so.
I've seen like up to episode 17. That's not a show. I wouldn't call that a shonen at all.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
I
it's the
feel like
best
that
piece of
might
media.
almost have more in common with the shoujo thing. Somebody
Yeah,
becomes
no, I would
a
agree.
character and just like
Oh, wait,
her
we're forgetting
interactions
about
with
the
people.
best shonen, Berserk.
No, that's standing.
Yeah, I know. That was more of a joke. Well, like,
I have seen all of Star Wars Rebels.
I would call that a shonen.
Star Wars definitely leans shonen direction if it were in like that
I
format.
have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's a shonen.
All right, we'll stop arguing about what a shonen is.
Yeah.
Me just saying
like
things
I
I've
think
seen.
I think a lot of like my reservations about it is like my ceiling is like high. Like it takes a lot for me to like get kind of invested in a shonen series these days, especially a long running one.
Mm.
Like there has to be something interesting there, and like the aesthetics I think in Bleach are probably some of the coolest. I really love Tite Kubo's style. Like it just drips everywhere. But I don't know, it's like there's nothing for me to like seriously latch onto.
That's kind of a common thing I feel with it. I also feel Ichigo as a main character leans too hard into the special main character category. You know, he's got an unusual amount of spirit
Yeah, I
energy
hate
since a
that
young
so
age,
much.
and he
Who's the
might.
main character in Black Clover?
The main character of Black Clover has like nothing
I
going
don't know anything about Black
They just
Clover.
do a lot of push-ups and work out. And it's like,
I don't know. I've never
hard.
cared if
He's
a
like the only
character is
person in
like
this world who can't use magic.
He's the most normal person.
he just has a gun.
No, he's got a big sword that's like
A big
anti-magic or
sword.
something.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I don't know. I've never cared about like a character being special or anything if I find them interesting, and I just think Ichigo's more interesting than the vast majority of shonen protagonists.
See, that's
That's
where
fine.
I differ because I personally don't find him very.
Yeah, no,
I know Joe doesn't either.
I like
like what just out of curiosity, like what makes you latch on to Ichigo's?
I don't know. I just
Is it just his hot-headed attitude?
I think it's mostly that I really like characters that really don't want to be there. And Ichigo, for a long time, is just like, I don't want to be doing this.
Like the beginning of the story, he quickly like turns around.
I don't know.
Especially,
He's
like after Grand Fisher, it's just like, yeah, I'm fine with this. I'm just doing it.
Yeah, but like you still like there was still a large period of time where he was like, "Why am I doing this? Like, I don't want to do this, Rukia. Take your powers back. I don't want this anymore."
Like, I don't feel like that was a long period of time because that's like 20 chapters out of like 180.
It was more than 20. Grand Fisher's more than 20 chapters in.
Yeah,
It's probably like 30-ish.
30, 40.
something like
Anyway,
that.
I like that. You can always just chalk it up to fucking nostalgia as well. But I don't know. I just like Ichigo as a character. I really like his interactions with other characters as well. I think his friendships are more genuine than I feel I've experienced with a lot of other shonen things. So, I don't know. I thought it was pretty groovy. I think he's a pretty groovy protagonist. Yeah, I even in general, like thinking of anime protagonists I like on the same level. I like Guts. I like Simone from Gurren Lagann. And I like Yugimoto. But yeah, that's kind of like a...
It's kind of a given.
Yeah.
Everyone likes Yugi.
Does Winx Club count as a shonen?
Wait,
No.
I'm checking right now. It looks like Grand Fisher's even earlier than 30.
Wait, really?
It's one of the...
It might be.
Because, because it's like
Huh.
big story beats for Ichigo. It feels were like Grand Fisher, then pretty much like from that point on, it was him hopping with like the Quincy battle, and then it was from there on the Soul Society focus with Renji coming down and giving him a taste of beyond his power, which he quickly escalates past because he's a special main character.
That's a decent...
I don't know. Because, like, Uryu stays pretty close for a lot of the time. Uryu is also a pretty special character. I think I'm fine with a lot of that because a lot of the main characters they don't ever hit Ichigo's level, but they stay pretty close, some of them.
Well, I feel like the difference for Iryu is like
Not in the Soul Society, but later. And I know that's not...
No, what we're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah.
He trained and worked for it. Ichigo just kind of had this like infinite power from the get-go.
Ichigo had to train
Ichigo had been a Soul Reaper.
But still, like he trains like a total of like 2 months, and then like a week before they go to Soul Society. Meanwhile,
his dad kicking him in the head counts as training.
Has had years of training, and I would say by the end of at least where we are right now, full-powered Ichigo would most likely be able to destroy full-powered Uryu.
Well, he doesn't have any power anymore.
Yeah.
I know I'm comparing if they were both at their optimal strength.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. No,
I still feel like Ichigo
I don't know. That blast,
I don't like that.
The Uryu fight, it just depends. If Uryu was able to hit him with that blast that hits Mayuri, Ichigo would die. Ichigo would instantly die.
Yeah.
But Ichigo probably wouldn't be hit by that.
Probably not now. Oh, so that's a decent thing to bring up. Man, me and Pierre have been talking a lot on and off about Bleach just throughout the week. The fights that don't involve Ichigo are way more interesting.
The non-Ichigo fights are just cooler.
I will say the one Ichigo fight that I actually was like, alright, I'm feeling this, was the fucking Kenny fight. Kenpachi?
You guys said this to me last time. I really like the Ichigo fights. All like the Renji fight, I really, really like. The Kenpachi fight.
Feel anything during that.
The Kenpachi fight, I really like, and I like the Byakuya fight. But I also have the memory of watching all these in the anime, so in my mind, I know exactly how they play out in the anime, and I think they're better in the anime.
I've seen some of these in the anime too. Like I had seen the fucking Renji round 2 with
Yeah.
Ichigo, and honestly, like that fight didn't do anything for me.
Like, I liked a lot of the pieces surrounding the fight with Renji, and like that's probably my favorite fight with Ichigo, and then probably Kenpachi like right afterwards. But like, I don't know, I
Where's
just
Ganju?
that didn't feel like a fight.
All right, so let's talk about what's everyone's favorite fights from the manga.
Soifon versus Yoriichi easily.
That fight is so gay.
It is.
Pierre said it wasn't.
I don't.
What do you think? Gay or not? Soifon versus Yoruichi.
It's definitely got its gay undertones for sure. I don't know if that's
Overtones.
overtones.
I don't know. The way it's like,
Over-
I don't see it, and I feel like that's because the way I see their relationship is just like younger and older sister. So much.
red domestic girlfriend.
Yeah, but I don't know.
That's my favorite shonen.
I feel like that idea comes to my head simply because it seems like Soifon is like noticeably younger than Yoriichi. Yoriichi seems like she's ancient when it comes to her experience. So it just like, maybe in my mind, it's just like, it's like, oh, these two people can't be paired up because one of them is like exponentially older than the other one.
It's fair. I suppose.
And that brings up to my question about how aging works in the Soul Society. Why none of it makes sense to me.
Also, so like, I get that like during the Soul Society, I'm assuming none. What's the deal with physical bodies in this world?
I'm
Well,
not
'cause
the
they're-
only one asking this.
Well, because they're in the Soul Society, they're all not physical bodies. They're all reishi, right?
Yeah.
So including like Uryu, Chad. And,
Yeah, that's what that portal did.
conversion
That
thing
converts
was.
them.
Oh, where
So
did their
that-
physical
they-
bodies go?
It's just it just converts their physical bodies into like a spirit body.
So that's why they need to go back through that.
So
same
it's
portal.
like when Mickey and Riku entered the datascape and he had digitized their hearts so they can exist in a electronic plane of existence.
So if Ichigo is a soul who goes through this converter, wouldn't he just come out with his physical?
No,
He didn't
because
need to because he's already
he's a
in-
soul reaper. So like they can travel freely like through it.
No.
The other bodies need to go through like the conversion thing. It says this in the manga.
He also
I
leaves
read
his
that,
body behind.
Yeah.
him,
Yeah,
so.
I read that like weeks ago.
Read that
Okay,
last
so
night.
Joe's favorite fight was Yoruichi versus Soifon. What's your favorite fight, Pierre?
I like Uryu versus Mayuri.
That's a good fight. I really like in the fight when he's just like, I'm using some weird power to puppeteer my body.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, my body's breaking, but I'm going to continue fighting. But not like Ichigo's continue fighting where he just gets up because he can, apparently. He's like, no, I'm going to puppeteer my
He's lent
broken
power from his Zanpakuto. It's the same thing.
I'm just saying Uryu has to work for it.
Either the Ichigo versus Kenpachi, or Kenpachi versus blank guy.
Tosin, I was gonna say that's a
That was a good
That's a
fight.
good one.
That was a good fight.
I love that fight, and I really love Kenpachi as a
Yeah.
voice actor in the anime. I love that.
He's
fight.
voiced by Jiraiya, isn't he? That would be
so. That fight's so good. I really like the fight. One thing in the manga that isn't really touched upon is the fight between Yamamoto and the two captains. It's just like, we're gonna fight, and then like 3 chapters later, it's like, we're done now. But in the anime, they fight for a bit, and that's pretty fun to watch.
No.
Which is a shame because like I saw Yamamoto like take off the jacket.
And
He's
he's
like
fucking
he's
ripped.
jacked. Like I'm a,
Massive old man.
I am just a sucker for that trope. I'm just like, yes, ripped old man about to school some kids.
He's on
like
fire.
it's just one of like my favorite tropes in shonen, and just like denied it. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
He comes back.
What's the name? Another thing that I felt like had insufficient payoff is what's the name of the fucking like blue hair guy who's doing like
Itsugaya?
is
The
he
small man?
yeah.
Yeah.
God, his character was so built up, and I was so excited to see something from him. And I swear he releases his Zanpakuto, and it's just like out like a fucking light.
Well, to be fair, he was up against Aizen.
That is fair. I
like
get
that.
that in terms of like the plot, but I feel like the narrative should have maybe found a way to like move his piece around to where he didn't just get fucking flattened out like that if they're gonna build him up so much.
I mean, he doesn't die.
He doesn't die. I acknowledge he doesn't
He
die.
has a lot of big moments. And it's hard arguing
He
about
does-
this because he becomes, it's... So,
I'm
but
talking.
look, I know.
I'm talking about specifically this arc, what they present in this arc, and the
And it's-
function it plays.
It's really hard for me to, like, differentiate that because I'm fine with something having no payoff in one arc if it eventually comes back in another arc kind of thing.
I am too,
But
it felt like the build-up was for
Yeah.
the specific shit going on in
But
this arc.
I personally am with Pierre. I like that. It's the same thing with like Chad's fight with I can never remember that captain's name specifically.
He's fucking. I like his design a lot.
Yeah, I do too. He reminds me of you.
Oh.
I really like that
Almost
build up
reminds me
Because
of
it feels
Gone,
like
you
it's
know?
gonna be a really big,
thank
epic battle, and then Chad just gets obliterated.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I was a little bit more forgiving of, although I do wish Chad and frankly everyone from like the human realm had a bit more to do in the second half. It feels
I
like they're up into
agree,
that
yeah.
first half and then they're just like
Everyone got their one fight-ish for Orihime.
exactly.
And that was it. Like,
Yeah.
I already knew going into it, like, Chad just kind of gets not a lot of time. Just because that was just a meme that you always told me.
I don't even mean in the Soul Society, I mean later on.
Oh.
I think I personally am fine with
I
how much
would've-
time they have everything.
But I do think that in general, I find the pacing and the time of like each character to be more satisfying in the anime.
Mhm.
I think it just feels like they get more time because some of these fights are like 2 episodes or so.
Yeah.
I will say the pacing of this arc, of the Soul Society arc in particular, not the whole saga, but it starts to slog a bit in the middle of it because it's like, I remember dropping the anime after like the bridge thing because I was just like, man, I am fucking worn out. Like I just spent all this time and it's like just a halfway point. And that's fine. That's fine. Like, I like shit that does that. I mean, obviously, like, fucking One Piece takes, like, 500 chapters to get to their fucking halfway point. But
No, Shadow of the Chimera Ant arc.
that's another example of something exactly like that.
does it so well.
It does. And
I don't know, like I get it with the manga, but I think that the pacing is more consistent in the anime, so I don't ever feel like there's really a
Well,
dip
like,
for me.
Because anime's better.
Well, and like pacing in manga is just so weird because everyone is objectively going to have a different pacing with it because it depends on how fast you're going through the pages. You know, there's not like a set amount of time where like, okay, this amount, only this much can happen in this amount of time. Like you can read something fast or you can read something slow.
By pacing, I don't necessarily mean the time that it's required, but like the narrative pace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I was mostly talking about the anime, because, like, you have more of a...
Filler?
Yeah. I mean, filler can help pace.
It
quite a
can.
bit.
Like, there is such thing as good filler.
There's a John Kanonji episode in the middle of the Soul Society arc.
Yeah.
That is good filler.
Is that where they're like superheroes?
Yeah.
That little.
Yeah.
I prefer it as the little sketches.
The little sketches
Yeah.
originals got their own episode.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
One
that's right.
Piece does similar things. Like they have like the fucking chapter
Is Don
intros.
Kanonji in One Piece?
No, but they have
Because I
like
watch One Piece of Don Kanonji.
they have like little title cards at the beginning of every chapter, and sometimes they'll tell like a B story following characters, secondary characters that'll sometimes get adapted into filler episodes. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, I felt like I just narratively I had a lot of the wind knocked out of me once, especially like with the fucking climactic Kenpachi fight. Like it feels like that's meant to be like the halfway climax.
Yeah.
And it's like his character also just kind of disappears for the last like third.
Chunk, yeah.
After he fights Tozen, he just is gone.
He's
And it's
like,
like,
oh, I'm gonna
I
go
feel-
to bed.
I'm like, why is this motherfucker not like fucking going in on Aizen. You think that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, because after that fight, they were all transported to Sokyoku, right?
Yeah, and Kenpachi just had to run there.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. It's like there was a bit of reason I would have loved to see. There are just so many more characters I would have loved to have spent more time with, I feel.
You wouldn't have this problem if they had half the characters. I feel like they should have just like killed off half the characters, like 2 chapters into Soul Society, and then like it'll just become the Ichigo and Chad show.
I don't know. It's the thing where it's like it's really hard for me to talk about this without just being like, I love Bleach because I love Bleach. But I really like pretty much all the characters in this. I'm fine with there being a lot and it's the same thing that I don't feel like anything is necessarily like they don't get enough time because I see them later on. So it's just like I need to differentiate that.
Who's your least favorite character?
Who's my least favorite character
at this point in the story? You're saying you like every character, it seems. I'm like, there has to be someone you hate.
I don't think there's any characters I necessarily hate.
I can think of one for me.
Who?
You don't like Cone?
Don Kanoji.
Really?
I don't. I've never liked his character.
I love Don Kanoji. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I just think he's fun.
He doesn't do anything like hurtful, doesn't like steal this show. Like it's fine. It's
in the manga, I felt like it was much easier to swallow his character, but I remember
I also really like his introduction, like that first part with them. There's some good dialogue between him and Ichigo.
I don't like him only because he kind of breaks the world for me. The fact that he's supposed to be like, they talk about how his show's like number 3 in like nationwide, and his ratings are stupid high, and he's really famous. But then like there's like a couple chapters where he just kind of hang out, like he's just pretty much just being him, and he's not constantly swarmed by people.
Well, yeah, it's explained in the anime that he was like really popular. No, he was really popular, and then he got like just everyone dropped off his show, and he's like a loser.
Yeah, now. I wish you would say that, because it's like, I believe that he's this famous, but I don't believe he's this famous and just like hanging out with Ichigo and buying Rukia snacks and wanting to like hang out with
I'm gonna hang out with Ichigo's sister.
I don't hate this character, but I will say Orohime definitely feels like
garbage.
A female character written by a man. There was just several points where I'm like, I can tell this is a dude writing this.
I don't know. I never really felt that.
I definitely did not. Actually, like early on, Orihime was probably my favorite character. I generally liked her. Like, I'm just a sucker for like the bubbly, happy-go-lucky girl archetype, I guess. Like, I can see where you're coming from, but also like, I don't know. I feel like the tragic backstory she was handled like pretty well. Like, I got a little emotional like reading her chapters, and I'm just like, fuck, dude, that hurts. I don't know. Like, I really liked Orihime.
I'm not saying I disliked her character.
Okay.
That was just something that
I never got it. I don't like think you're an idiot for that.
No.
But I think you're an idiot for other reasons. I'm
you like One Piece.
I'm just kidding, Thomas. You looked very hurt by that. I'm sorry.
I was just like, what have I said?
I'm just joking.
I don't think I've made any like unfair.
No, I get it. I don't see it, but I get what you're saying.
I also not a huge fan of Orihime. It's only because I feel like she's supposed to be like a main character, but I also feel like the story refuses to give her any like spotlight after her initial like backstory. So it just seems like she's just kind of hanging out with them, and then she gets healer powers and annoying summons. I'm glad those summons don't show up too much, but
yeah.
Like, I was really worried that every time she's healing or shielding someone, there's going to be little dudes arguing, and I'm just like, just have her hold up their big triangle shield and call it a day. But yeah, a lot of the human characters I feel like are cool, but they just don't get a lot of screen time, aside from maybe Uryu, who gets like a little bit more, but not much.
I'm
I also
I
feel
can't
like
think of any characters I actively dislike. I don't know.
Like, there aren't any at all, I think, for me. Like, where we are in the story, like, I don't know a whole lot about Aizen, so, like, I guess kind of that, but I'm also fine with not knowing a whole lot because the door is very much wide open to learn more about Aizen, what he's doing, why he's doing that, all of those things.
I don't like how Aizen turned full heel in the very end, because I thought I knew about the plot twist that he was the bad guy, like, way ahead of time, but reading him before he was immediately the bad guy, he seemed like almost a cool dude. And then, like, I kind of was like, I hope this bad guy is the kind of bad guy who's just, like, a reasonable dude. And he's just kind of cool and hangs out. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to kill a lot of people, but I'll be friendly about it. Yeah. I'm not feeling bad about it, but just being friendly enough with it. But then instead it's like, yep, that Aizen was all an act. I'm going to break my glasses and slick back my hair. I'm God now.
I don't know. I always liked Aizen as an antagonist, but
like, again,
also, like, when you gotta remember, when I watched this when I was, like, I don't know, 13 or whatever, it, like, I don't know why, but I didn't see it coming at all. Reading the manga, I think the manga, it's really obvious.
I will say,
I don't think it is. I actually did not feel that obvious. Like, I didn't...
Maybe it's just because I've seen it.
Like, you go.
Oh, I was going to say, I had seen the anime up until, like, the halfway point of the Soul Society, so... First time seeing that twist, and I did not see it coming.
Oh, okay. I specifically was worried about the manga because right before it's revealed, it shows a flashback of him specifically with Hitsugai, and I'm like, that's a little on the nose. Like, why are you putting him right there?
And I knew about the twist beforehand, so when Aizen first showed up, I was, like, very attentive to him, but I think the story does a really good job of, like, throwing the red herring at Gin. Even though, like, Gin is evil, but, like, it was a good enough job to make sure Gin was always in the spotlight. You're like, obviously, snake-looking fucking guy is gonna be evil, but it's like, okay, yeah, he's evil, but he's not the main guy
behind everything.
Which I thought was actually really good. I also didn't see Tosin coming.
Tosin, I really like that. I want to know more about Tosin, because where I am in the anime, it still hasn't, like, shown a lot about Tosin, but he's pretty...
If anything, I kind of wish Tosin was, like, the big bad. Instead, it was like, I want revenge against the Soul Reapers for being the worst, and that was their whole deal.
I actually think that Tosin sets up...
I kind of wish Cone was the main villain.
That would be pretty good, too.
Like, like, Tosin's arc sets up in a very interesting place because he is specifically following Aizen because he thinks that this is the path of least bloodshed. And I think that sets up for a really good, like, redemption arc for him. And I think is very, very interesting, can be very, very good.
Yeah, I still can't think of any characters
Yeah, no, and like I said, like, Aizen's, like, kind of like a sure why not ish, but, like, that's kind of the point, is we'll find out more along the way.
I don't know, like, I just felt like while I was reading, I was kind of became hopeful that, oh, Aizen could be an interesting villain, and then, like, he kind of just turns the 180s and is like, nah, I'm just pure bad at this point, I'm just a megalomaniacal maniac, and see you guys later, and then he sky beams away. And I was like, oh, okay then. Cool.
That's fair too.
I also liked when he like didn't slick back his hair and just had like big old glasses and looked like a substitute teacher. Because I thought like that's an interesting villain design. And it's like, no, he
looks like a
cool guy and I don't like that.
Would you have preferred it if
like, he just looked like a 40-year-old substitute teacher grabs, like, Ichigo Zanpakuto and it's like, you can't beat me.
What if he
breaks it and leaves?
You're expelled.
What if he took off his glasses and put on an even bigger pair of glasses?
And a fake nose.
Alright, so least favorite character. Who's everybody's favorite character then?
Probably Rukia or Kenny.
I want to say I really like Rukia, but she's just given like no real time in the Soul Society at all.
I don't have an issue with that.
I don't think that
I have a massive issue with that because one of my favorite things was her banter with Ichigo was like the one thing that I liked about Ichigo was just like their back and forth, and then that was gone like throughout 80% of the story simply because she's just in a jail cell.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think her arc could have been done better in the Soul Society for sure. But I think it's interesting that she's like kind of come to accept her death and even think it's like, it seems like she kind of subscribes to the theory. It's like, yeah, this is the right thing to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's interesting. I wish they would have explored it a little more. I wish we would have gotten a little bit more like maybe screen time between her and fucking Shinji Ikari's voice actor, whose name I can't remember.
Hanataro?
Hanataro!
Yeah.
It should just the Soul Society arc should have been Rukia in her cell, and it's everything from her perspective, and she's just hearing guards like talk about like, rumors of like people who broke in, and it's like apparently some guy with a giant arm,
or she has a big pair of binoculars.
It's just
she's looking out the window.
It's just 130 chapters of her sitting in the room. I detect a faint bit of spiritual pressure right now. I can't tell who it is because the walls of this place are really thick, though. Oh well, I'll just wait until it's gone and feel sad.
Fun fact about Hanataro, in the Bound arc, he works at 7-Eleven.
Fun fact about Hanataro, he gets possessed by Cone partway through this arc.
Yeah, I was reading that.
That was the point in which those little stories, I'm like, all right, this clearly isn't happening. Whereas the rest of them left that like...
Well, no, some of them kind of are. Because right after the Soul Society arc, when Ichigo finds Kone's body, it's all destroyed from fucking the Uruhara kid. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, some of them are like definitely like you can see this being canon.
Yeah.
Whereas that particular
show
one was like
canon, I guess.
The what?
The radio show parts aren't canon, I guess.
Yeah. Those are the ones that I would like. Those in the popularity or the character polls, like shit like that.
Were you disappointed that like Chad and Orihime weren't like in the top 10 of the second one, but somehow that one like girl who works at Hat and Clock's shop is? Yeah, like the
that second one
made it in.
I don't like the red hair kid from Hat and Claw's place.
Fair.
He's a dick. He's okay. He's probably the character I like the least.
He's going to grow up to be like a hero.
He's going to become the next Hokage.
He's going to become the next Ichigo. He's got the red hair and everything. Anyway.
Sequel's going to be about him.
What's it called? What was I about to fucking say?
I don't know, but I think I know my favorite character. It's a toss-up between like either Chad or Yoriichi.
Chad's another good one that I forgot to mention. I like Chad.
Just because I love the gentle giant.
So do I.
He's great. And then Yoriichi, I'm like, okay, kill Queen, yas.
Pierre, what was yours? Is it Mayuri? I don't really like Mayuri either. He kind of scares me.
The thing is,
the clown man.
The robot clown.
Doug Walker.
Yeah, Doug Walker.
Doug Walker.
Like, I don't think I like what he's about, like, conceptually, but I feel like he's like...
I agree with him.
It's like... I like that he's in the story because it's like, out of all the people they fight, he's the one guy who I'm like, I really hope Uryu just, like, atomizes this dude because he's just garbage. It's like, I liked... And he just plays it so straight, like, he doesn't even care how horrible he is. Hey, want to see a picture of a dead old man?
Yeah.
It's like strangling a child.
You know what's great? He's voiced by,
Doug Walker.
No, he's not. In Japanese, he's voiced by Frieza's voice actor. And he's famous for playing pale,
terrible people.
Snow White skin, like experimental people. Like he plays like a similar character named Caesar Clown in One Piece, who also performs all sorts of scientific experiments.
So whenever like you would talk, while you're like in the manga, the voice I would always hear in my head would be a fusion of that one like lemon guy from Adventure Time,
Justin Roiland,
and Rick from Rick and Morty.
Also Justin Roiland.
So just like. He just sounds like really screechy Rick.
Yeah.
And then he's just messing with Uryu
In my
in a
head,
dark alleyway.
I had like Snape, but like not so Snape sounding.
I feel like Snape is way too I'm just picturing him just screeching and yelling horribly, which is why I was so disappointed, because I went back and watched a lot of the fights in the anime compared to the manga, and there's a specific point when Mayuri uses his Bankai for the first time, which I was surprised to see that the first use of Bankai wasn't by Ichigo or someone fighting Ichigo. It was like an unrelated fight, so that was kind of fun. But he says Bankai, and in the anime, he just how dare you do this to me? I guess I'm gonna need to go and use it. Bankai. And then does his thing. Bankai. But when I'm reading it, he looks like, how dare you destroy me like this? Bankai! It's howling to the sky.
You might want to put an audio warning on that. Holy shit. I don't think I've heard Pierre ever get that loud in my life.
But it's that's how I heard in my mind. And then Uryu's like, Bankai? He's like
just the loudest and quietest person.
He just doesn't know what's going on. Well, it's I hear him screech out to the moon. Yeah. And then silence descends as his Bankai's forming around him. And Uryu just breaks us off by saying, Bankai? Just under the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And then things start happening. And I was disappointed in the anime, it's not like that.
Yeah. I'm just disappointed that he's not voiced by Doug Walker in anything, because I was just reading those lines. I'm like, this just sounds like Nostalgia Critic when he's writing in his fucking upward positioning against the other Channel Awesome team members, where he's like, oh no, I don't want to experiment with you. I already know all about your kind. Ah!
I don't think we ever got to who was your favorite character though, Pierre.
Oh, mine's is
he said it.
I really assumed that it would be Rukia until I realized that she's not in the story that much. So it kind of shifted to Uryu just because he's the kind of character I like that's largely cool and calm, collected, but then he's also kind of an idiot at times.
You're what they would call a genius.
When he first appears, his whole thing is I'm gonna prove that I'm better than you, Ichigo, by endangering the lives of everyone who lives in this town.
Yeah.
And
he just hated Uryu at that point.
And so did I.
I love that just because I like that he thought so highly of himself. And he is for the most part confident, but every now and then he's just an absolute idiot.
When he gets caught by his cape in the trash.
Yeah, and it's oh no, my
dies.
Cape. It's a good thing I brought an extra cape. And it's Uryu's just the best. It's also the other times where he's talking about his costume, and it's I think the Quincy outfit looks really cool. And everyone's who is this guy? He also uses a bow, which I think is way cooler than a sword in 90% of cases.
And my favorite character, I really like Ichigo. I really like Kisuke Urahara. I really like Ichigo's dad.
He was one of my favorite characters of the first 10 chapters.
Yeah. But overall, I also really like Yoruichi. But it's probably Chad. I really like Chad.
Chad's great.
This might be weird, but the more Chad talked, the more I kind of started falling off from him. Just because I still think he's really cool, but I really noticed this in the last few chapters. He kind of he grows and kind of opens up and becomes a bit more talkative with the group.
You don't like that.
It's not that, just I like the idea of Chad just kind of there and he'll only really talk when necessary. When other times he'll just be in the silence hey guys, do you hear that? And he'll have multiple sentences, and I'm he should only be speaking 4 or 5 words per bubble.
Oh my god.
Talk too much.
He shouldn't be a caveman or anything like that. I'm just saying he should just be
help.
Uryu, shut up. Stuff like that.
Uri, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like if he was just like that in the cell, it's like
Uryu, I break you. Just
he should also have a Russian accent.
He's a
Even though
Mexican
he's
and
Mexican.
Okinawan, and he should have a Russian accent.
Yeah, he grew up with his Russian aunt. He just picked up the accent.
After his Mexican grandfather died, he grew up with his Russian aunt,
yeah.
Olga.
So while I didn't necessarily hate Ichigo, I found him boring and kind of just whatever.
Why'd they stop calling him Strawberry after like, the first 4
Like-
chapters?
He's cool, he does
He
cool
draws in
things,
black
he's
and white and
powerful,
forgot.
but like, I could not bring myself to care about Ichigo whatsoever. And the story fainted so many attempts at like making me want to care about him that I just was just like, okay, whatever, shonen boy do shonen thing.
I just hate how like overpowered he ended up feeling by the end.
I'm
Yeah.
fine
with like
that.
a minimal like actual training.
I'm
Like if
fine
he was
with
at this point, like in like chapter 500, I'd be fine with it after like multiple like a year or two have passed at least.
Little victories that eventually
Yeah.
accumulate into you going like, oh, this guy's got some real latent
Like-
talent that like builds up.
He feels like he's already at the end of his series at this point, where it's just like
Like he feels like fucking Goku in the Saiyan saga if he didn't
Yeah.
have the pre-established Dragon Ball series beforehand to build him up.
Goku started off as a normal person at the beginning of Z.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm fine with the power scaling. It's just like,
I feel like it doesn't leave much room for the future.
it doesn't leave much room for the future, and like, Ichigo at the beginning of Soul
Starts
Society
throwing plants.
and Ichigo at the end of Soul Society are like functionally the same person. Is a lot of how I feel.
The only main like big difference that I feel is obviously he feels he has finally achieved the ability to protect those around him, which is a
Yeah.
very common shonen
Yeah.
thing in the first place. Which I mean, whatever. If it's your like exposure, it's your
Yeah.
exposure. You like it, you like it. Like I like other series that do that. That
Yeah.
have
Same.
hit the dibs button on that first.
Yeah.
So it's like.
London.
I do think it's a common trope, which is fine. I personally like that trope because I think that one of the main things is like growing up, I saw myself in Ichigo, or I wanted to be like Ichigo. Like in my mind, I don't care about myself like at all, and I want to like protect others around me, which is pretty much the same for Ichigo. I like Ichigo because he feels very sad as a person.
Yeah,
he
it's very
doesn't
much
really have. I like Ichigo because he doesn't really have a personality of his own. He's like very much just like a fly on the wall. He has some friends and stuff, but most of his life is dedicated to like just working hard and taking care of his family. And I enjoy that. And like, I think that he does have quite a bit of character arc in the Soul Society of him like coming into his own as a person. Like as he's fighting more, he's getting stronger, but he's also becoming more of himself, I guess, in my opinion. But I get it.
Well, I can resonate a bit with that because I did really like at the end of the Soul Society when like they're getting ready to go back home and there's a little bit of like she changed his world, the rain stopped, he can finally like he looks hopeful for like honestly hopeful for like the first time since like the story started. Like a big weight's been put off his shoulder because he personally feels like he now has the power to protect the things he cares about.
Yeah.
And like that's nice, but it also brings the question. It really feels like the Soul Society arc is supposed to be where the series ends. Like it's supposed to end right after this.
Yeah.
Like this is the end of his journey. He accomplished his goal
Because
everything for the most part's righted.
where will he go from here?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, his character, it feels like the very beginning for me.
I feel like
I can't say because I haven't read more. I'd have to see what route they decide to take with it. Because honestly, he doesn't have enough for me to feel like, oh yeah, like honestly, like it feels like really the two big plot threads that feel open from this are the Aizen thing and
And
the
Koan.
Grand Fisher.
And Don Kanonji. Like, what will Don Kanonji do next? Will he get his show back to
Hopefully
the top of the charts?
He'll die and go to the Soul Society, and we'll never have to fucking see him again.
That's a hate crime.
That's not a hate crime.
He'll die, go to
that
Soul
is a hate
Society,
crime.
He's
become a
one
new
guy.
captain.
He'll be captain. He's
There's
gonna take
vacancy,
over
so-
Captain's eyes and spot.
There we go.
Don Kanonji's behind it all.
So I wanted to quickly mention this because I keep on forgetting about it, but you know during the last fight with Byakuya,
Yeah.
like aside from the fact that Ichigo, who's trained for like essentially, let's just say 3 months, is able to beat Byakuya, who's supposed to be one of the best, who I'm assuming is trained for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but he's also a poser.
even though that
You gotta
happened,
remember, Ichigo keeps it real.
well, I would say Ichigo kind of only won that fight, I would say, because he hollowifies, or the hollowification starts kicking in.
And then he rips it off.
Again,
I hate how he rips
Yeah,
it off,
it's a-
because it kind of feels like something big is about to happen, and then Ichigo's like, no, stop that.
See,
I'm fine now.
that's-
I'm like,
That's what I was talking about earlier with the
the thing is,
payoff having.
he recuperates
or build-up having a
completely
payoff.
after that. If he like took it off and just fainted, like he does, like it felt like that moment when he was supposed to be rejecting power if it comes from like darkness, like from the hollow side, and if he rejected that power and lost the fight, and kind of like making a statement that he refuses winning by like losing himself in battle. I feel like that'd be cool, but instead he rejects that, is completely healed afterwards, essentially.
But he's not completely
He's not completely healed.
He's still all fucked up afterwards.
But
He
he's
won
still
by
enough,
one.
But he's able
yeah,
to.
enough
He's-
to
he's
put
enough-
one hit in.
Like,
Yeah.
One
you
hit.
can
that
say
could
someone
take
is,
down him.
you can say he's bandaged, but he's functionally the same. Like, nothing felt hindered.
The thing.
Yeah, it felt
Like,
like he
when-
got a bit of a rejuvenation.
Yeah, like
from
when
that.
he unhollows, he's able to stand and move, because before that he's literally saying, "Why isn't my body moving? I just can't physically do it anymore."
Yeah, and
Like he's gotten to a point where he's just incapacitated.
And it almost seemed like they were going to dive into that, like, Kenpachi philosophy again, where, you know, it's like, you got to want to win, you know? You don't want to live, you want to win. And because he was prepping for that, and he's like, I want to win. And then
Yeah.
suddenly the hollow mask just, bloop. And I was like, oh, okay, they're doing this now?
Like,
Okay, I've been waiting for this, and then
he
it's-
shakes it off too.
Yeah, then it's like, just a couple, and then he's like, oh, nope, don't want this. And it's like, it just felt like a bad payoff, at least currently. Maybe it'll
Like,
flourish.
it's
in
cool
future
for
arcs.
setting up something. I just feel like it makes that fight lose a lot of its weight.
I agree.
No, I think the
I
fight.
personally was not impressed by that fight at all.
Oh, I really,
That was one of my favorite fights until that moment.
I
Specifically.
really like that part specifically because that's the only reason Ichigo won. So I just think
I
like
don't feel like it's the only reason he won, but I don't feel like he himself acknowledges it. Like I guess it feels like he just shrugs it off, like that was weird, but okay.
I feel like Byakuya is the real person that's like that was weird but okay.
No, I feel like we're gonna that's spooky. I'm just gonna kind of back off. I'm done. And then he's just like not having it.
The series does a lot of shonen ass pulls, and I don't know how I feel about a majority of them. Like, it felt like every single one of Ichigo's fights, there was some, like, weird, like, power-up ass pull thing.
Yeah, it's like
That, like, doesn't take advantage of it in, like, a technical or occasionally narratively well way. Like, the fight with Ikaku, Mairame, Baldy.
Yeah.
Like, he just powers up and, like, hits him, and same thing with Kenpachi. He, like, falls, powers up, hits Kenpachi, falls, powers up, hits Kenpachi. Like, and there wasn't much of a story there.
I don't know. I would say that there's a
With
or,
the
like-
Kenpachi one, I felt like there was a bit of something, because
Yeah,
at least we had the build-up to, like, Zanpakuto's having names, and
Yeah, I guess. It's
we
just
had
like,
seen that they had different forms, so...
it felt like there could have been a lot, it felt like there was a lot left on the table. It felt like there was more room for other things, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I liked about them. Is it felt like I said that I felt like as he was growing stronger, he was becoming more of himself. Like every time he powers up, it feels like he's like unlocking.
He's
a
like
piece of
Superman, and he's unlocking some of that just endless potential that he has locked away in his brain.
Like it feels like he's learning a bit more about himself and what he wants. From the fights, which is cool. It's just in that last fight of Baka, I realized it. Like, I wish it was just kind of, like, acknowledged a bit more. Like, it feels like it's shrugged off for the most part. Like,
well, that's what I was saying. That's why I like it. I like that he does that because it leaves room in the future that he's becoming more of himself, but now has another part of himself that he's denying.
I guess I, like, worded it in a weird way and put myself in a corner. Like, the technical aspects of Bleach, I was really hoping for something cooler, especially, like, maybe it'll be more if I go further, like, Bankai. And, like, maybe there'll be interesting things with Bankais, but it just, like, it felt like...
Super Bankais.
Yeah. It just felt like...
Oh, you're going further.
Mega Giga Bankais.
Oh, I just meant you're going further in the series.
Maybe.
In the future.
No.
Maybe.
If you continue to do this show, you're going further in the series.
Okay.
We should just make this a Bleach podcast. The Bleach podcast is like 15 years too late.
Oh my god, yeah.
I mean, this is actually the perfect time.
Yeah.
Because Bleach is going to be getting its...
15 years too late.
Too
just
early.
Like the next season of Bleach.
Well, I don't know, like, the technical aspects of the fight I thought were pretty boring. Like how the actual like moves that were done in the fights, like disregarding like the actual like narrative significance, like person fighting person, it felt very bland for the most part, except for Kenpachi versus Tosin. I thought that was funny, but like there was like actual strategy here and like an actual thing like happening.
It's really fun to like watch like two characters try and outwit each other by understanding how each other are fighting, and like watching two people hit metal sticks together.
I like
can
watching
only
two people.
go so
like
I disagree. I think watching two people hit each other with metal sticks is the most satisfying thing I could ever watch.
There's a definite balance of like, okay, the overarching narrative of why these two characters are there, and then like how the fight actually plays out. Like there's definite balancing acts there. Like you can have like a very like lame on a technical front fight, but like have the story surrounding that be like fantastic and like be very like memorable and like impactful. Like okay, these characters are gonna go past this if they live. Different from when they came in.
Yeah.
Or the opposite side of that. Maybe it could be like two random bullshit characters, but the fight is like, holy shit, these guys are insane. And like shonen power sets allow for a lot of those weird like a lot of those like weird chess move scenarios, and maybe in the future like Bankais will like give that sort of outlet, because that's like one of the reasons why like Hunter x Hunter and JoJo's are fantastic, is because every character does a unique thing. And really only does that unique thing, and they are only able to win by being able to outwit their opponent given their own moveset.
Like when the guy hit that girl's sword and made it really heavy, and then he's like, got him!
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, I was kind of getting bored with the series until like the Uryu fight, and you see like a Bankai for the first time, and like I kind of like started figuring out what a Bankai was, because I hear that word for years, and I don't know what Bankai actually means, and it's like, no, it's just when the character uses their ult, essentially, and their ult usually has a funny JoJo power tied to it. Like, ooh, here's my purple haze. I'm Mayuri.
Here's my giant
sword thing. And what did Renji do?
He brings out a giant bone dragon.
Yeah, big bones.
Segments into a bunch of different pieces so it can't be shattered by their...
Mm-hmm. I love Byakuya's like dropping his sword and then a bunch of swords coming up. Specifically when Ichigo's like, why is he dropping his sword?
Yeah.
That's the one time I did think a character says Bankai normally without screaming it, because I feel like Byakuya
he's just
so dignified, like
all the time.
Bankai. And just drops it.
That's literally, he literally says, he goes like, Bankai.
He's allowed to like not scream.
Komamura always yells Bankai. Because he's always really pissed. He's like, ah!
I like Komamura. He's...
Which one's that one again?
Dogman.
Dogman.
Oh yeah, I like him.
I don't feel like
I just like his character. So like big dog man. Like,
Yeah.
That's cool.
I hate giant dog man.
It's just Legolas grown up.
Dog man is coming to my house on Sunday.
Yeah,
What
so
should I do?
most of the
Stars.
points that have been put across, I completely disagree with, but I feel like at least a chunk of that is from nostalgia, which is fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, no,
Like I said, I feel like I definitely like hopped on this boat a little too late. Where I have other experiences to other things that like. Okay.
like the greatest anime ever made.
Oh, like it's funny that you mentioned that, but because like no, like I have like me and you are opposites in that regard. Like you're not super high on My Hero, but like
In fact, I don't like it.
yeah, and I'm like Bleach is fine,
Yeah.
whatever. Even though like nowadays I'm like I don't really care about My Hero too much.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, London, I'd probably say between the two portions that I've read of both series, I like Bleach more than I like My
I think
Hero.
I like My Hero.
Well, that's fine. I don't care if anyone
Yeah.
likes anything I like.
yeah,
In fact, I like it more when people don't like
yeah. No, like it's just an
Because
interesting.
then I can call them losers.
Yeah, no, it's just an interesting thing
contrary.
because like my experiences and the things that I trend towards are just different as all.
Yeah.
I just realized Ichigo and Deku are like the same age.
Are they?
But
And they're both
looks like a
freshmen in
normal
high school or
person.
something.
Yep.
Or how old is Ichigo's? Like
He's
15?
15.
He's 15.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, there would be a freshman in Japanese high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both freshmen.
Well, I mean, Ichigo is drawn like this tall, and
Do you
Deku's
do,
like-
do you think starting Ichigo could beat up starting Deku?
Easily.
Yes,
Yeah.
easily.
Yes.
Ichigo literally like beats up 4 people the first like 5
Ichigo wouldn't
minutes.
have to train before he eats All Might's
But I
hair.
feel like
Yeah.
Deku's the kind of person who would have a gun in their backpack.
If All Might did not give Deku their powers,
Okay.
Deku would have shot up a sword.
I'm just saying, if he didn't end up in
The
AU or
Thomas, you're off the
MU,
camera.
Oh,
Cool.
there it is.
see, if he didn't end up in the hero school, a normie school
He
would
would've
probably
gone
be
to prison.
full of bullets.
There's a small like theory that there is decent grounds for that he probably would have just killed himself.
Oh, I think I say that he has a quirk, and if he dies, he comes back.
No,
Invincibility.
like there's some dialogue that makes you think like, holy shit, this dude's gonna like kill himself.
Next up, Berserk. No, I'm just kidding.
All
All right, well, I think we're
Should
about
we
done talking about Bleach.
All right,
Are we?
we're each gonna give
Pull
numerical
in.
Are we gonna do numerical score, or do we want to say if we recommend it or not?
I
We're
get-
not doing a letter score.
I guess we can just
all 26 letters.
we can do recommendations if you
All
want
right.
to be a bit more broad.
Is that what would you guys prefer?
I'm fine with recommendations.
All right, so we'll go strongly recommend, not recommend, or strongly not recommend.
I'd say if you're really into like the post Dragon Ball era shonen, check it out. You'll probably get something from it. I think the Soul Society arc manages to be pretty decent. I mean, obviously it's got its fucking shortcomings, but there's still a lot about it that impressed me. Like I liked the kind of politics of the arc. I liked following the different Soul Reapers and shit like that. So I'd say if you haven't gone through any Bleach before and you're really into shonen, maybe check out the first 182 chapters and decide from there.
Just the 182. Just the first 182. Just funny to me.
Just breeze through.
Breeze
First-
through.
I'm the kind of
21
person who will read like an entire long running shonen whether I like it or not and be like, yep, well, I just to be part of the conversation.
I guess I would say recommend. Like, if you're getting into anime, it's not the worst place.
It's a good gateway.
It's a good gateway. I mean,
Brilliant gateway.
but it also like it holds a lot of significance just because it was part of the big three, and I think that will always be true. And right around now, at the end of 2020, you're kind of getting in at a good point because they are going to be rebooting the anime
They're
next year.
Reanimating the final arc. That was
Yeah, they're animating the final arc. Taite Kubo is putting out new stuff. So I mean, yeah, I'd say it's as good a time as any.
Pierre.
I would have. I'm strongly against people reading Bleach. Just on the principle that anime is always going to be better than manga. Like I
So
have
would you
like
like-
a show Assault on Anime, and that's kind of the thing. It's not manga, it's anime. It's just better. You get the music. There's like way more colors.
I can't wait for
things
Pierre's
are
ordering
moving. Lycos doesn't look as bad in the anime as in the manga.
Well, what
if-
about
if you-
watching Bleach? Would
Oh,
you
yeah.
recommend that?
Yeah, you should probably check out Bleach. I would recommend a Don Kinoji only run though. So just kind of like going through the series, but only watching episodes that feature at least 8 frames of Don Kinoji in them.
8 frames.
8 frames are
A
doesn't count.
third of a second.
What,
If they're
is
not-
he in any of the intros? That would be
That's
like
why the frames are there.
Oh, okay.
Because he might appear for like 3 frames in an intro.
There you go.
I would strongly recommend this. It's the greatest thing to ever.
I can't wait till the roles are reversed. And
Yeah.
I'll be saying the same things but about
Oh,
One Piece.
About My Hero. About Dr. Stone. About
I-
Card Captor Sakura.
Can't believe
Haven't
I
read
watched
Dr. Stone
Dr. Stone.
Alright, is everybody excited to figure out what we're reading next?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pierre, are you gonna read it?
Probably not. I said
No?
it wasn't manga.
You
I
can
have to
pretend it
leave
is.
If I'm not going to read it.
Yeah, get out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, here I go.
Okay, if you're not gonna read it, get the fuck out.
I'm going.
Alright.
Alright, Thomas, pull those books out. There should be 4. I have 2 more copies, but
Hungry caterpillar. Hungry
we're reading
caterpillar.
Wolf in White Van by John
I had a
Darnielle,
feeling it was going to be Wolf and White.
and there's 2 more down there.
This one's got.
Why do you have so many?
I'm
Oh, cool. They're not mine.
Where did you get them from?
I bought them.
Wait, they're not yours, but you bought them?
John Darnielle's other book.
Universal Harvester by Jonathan Darnielle. Focus on death. Chris was a player. There are just random sticky notes in this one. Oh,
Is that from the local library?
no, I bought this from Amazon.com.
Who's John Darnielle?
Wait, we're reading.
Yeah, I told you that.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wolf and White Van and Universal Harvester.
Okay.
I said this.
Wait. What's Universal Harvester about?
Something?
It's about a dude harvesting.
Yeah.
Yo, you should read The Good Earth instead. It's about some Chinese dude in like ancient China, and he's like a farmer.
Wait, so Pierre's not reading these?
I don't know.
I'm reading The Good Earth.
He's gonna read it. He's gonna read it. We'll see
I'm
you
not
all.
going to read it.
He's going to read it, and we will see you all in 1 month
I guess it won't read.
for episode 2.
Of Read Weens.
支えてくれる人たちに
It's so fucking loud. I didn't mean.
本当はありがとうたとえどこに立って君の存在に感謝してるよ